So, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. This is Scoop
And Trudy.
and we are back for another week. So,
We're going to be called the Then and Now Show.
that's what you want to do? You don't want to say Scoop and Trudy? You want to say then and now? Because we could do that. Like,
the old and the new.
No, we will never do that. Old and new is something that just will never happen. You will never get me to say that. I was taught not to say old.
Because I'm really getting excited about things that we're doing and
Mm-hmm.
talking about. And meeting you has been a very deep pleasure.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you just made
'Cause
me
you have so
smile.
much energy and commands and directions and bossing, and you make me feel energized. You know?
Oh, wow.
It's like my big sister. Or,
Oh, wow.
You know,
Now that is definitely a compliment. I have to really hold on to that one.
Yeah,
Cause
there's a couple different ways to look at that, right?
I know, because
I felt like I was kind of getting into a situation where I was declining.
oh no,
And
we
meeting
can't
you
let that
has-
happen. It's pushed you back out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
clap for that. That's
I
we
mean,
gonna clap
there's so
for
many
that one.
things- You made me aware of so many things that I haven't done, and I should be getting on it. And I'm so glad to have you as my kind of inspiration.
Oh.
So that's what's happening with me. But anyway,
So you just gave me every little bit that I always try to give you, because I'm very fortunate to have you. But, you know, I think this is more or less of a not then and now, but more of a give and take, where you have to learn to appreciate, you know, the differences and bridge that gap. And that's what makes both of us unique, in the fact that we are able to come together outside of the different spans of age and actually sit here and respect each other
and relax
and push each other and,
yeah.
you know, really get the things that a lot of people miss because
Yeah.
they don't understand.
Talking about missing,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people say that family is everything. I don't have any family.
I know you told me
And
that
so,
last week,
yeah.
but I told you that I'm that daughter that you never had.
No
gonna
daughter,
push
no
you.
son, no cousins,
No, I
no
feel some type
aunts.
of way.
Well, I'm a girl.
Right.
Oh, well, he's our
I'm-
master.
Oh,
He's our master.
He ain't
He's the voice.
He is not my master. He is the voice.
He's just the voice. Well, I guess you understand that.
He is the voice.
Sorry about that, Shorty. You're
he-
our son.
He is bestie. He's all of that. He is not the
Thank you,
master.
thank you.
But anyway,
I know my place.
it's good to have somebody to talk to now and then and to go over things. A lot of people say family can sometimes be your worst.
They
but
can.
I don't think so. I think you need family. And I miss it.
You know what? You need family, but as people say, sometimes it's your best thing, sometimes it's your worst thing. But the reality is, I have family. Some days I wish I did not have family. Most days I wish that I do have family, because at the end of the day, when things are the toughest,
Mm-hmm.
I get to go home and I look at them and I understand why I do the things that I do.
Now, you know, it's funny because I tried to adopt children
Mm-hmm.
when I first started in radio.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in Detroit, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to adopt a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, it wasn't allowed if you were single. I was single at the
Okay.
time. And if you were single, you couldn't adopt. Now, of course, all the adoption has changed.
Mm-hmm.
The adoption rules have changed. But I couldn't adopt then.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't until I really came to Philadelphia that the laws were changed.
Yeah, they were starting.
And a good friend of mine at the time was also single and adopted, Orion Reed, if you remember.
Oh, wow.
Orion Reed
Mhm.
was the first person that I knew that was single that adopted. And since then, she adopted 2 children.
Oh, wow. God bless
and
her
did
soul.
very well. Of course, she remarried also, which helps. But I had my good Ken,
Mm-hmm.
and he already had children. And so
Okay.
I kind of adopted them.
So you have children.
Well, we're not as close as I had hoped that we would get because they're sort of scattered. All the electronics and things came in, and it sort of, we didn't get that close like you would have if you didn't have so many things to separate you. And, of course, distance is another thing. So, but I have a lot of friends and family out there, I hope.
Oh, you definitely
that have
do.
come
I'm
to
sure
my
you do.
rescue, and
I'm
they
sure
did.
you do.
They did. I was honored this past weekend.
I heard. I'm sorry I was not there. I got a nice picture of you.
Yeah, and you have it in
beautiful.
your paper. It was the 3rd annual Legacy Awards, and I was one of the awardees. And my good friend Yuki Washington was the host or the MC. And along with that, with me, was, of course, Dick Allen.
Yes.
Who received it. And Cecil Moore. And, no, it wasn't Cecil Moore. Asa Moore. And
Tina Sloan.
Yes, I didn't know her. And she was awarded because of her experiences and her dedication to sports.
Yes.
And it was so good to be there and to know her. Was there someone else, too?
This woman here, Ruth Hare.
Dr. Ruth Hare.
Dr. Ruth Hare was
when I came, when I was here, when I was working for Channel 3, she was the first color to get a principal awardee.
Okay.
And she was a great person. I got to know her by traveling.
Some great accomplishments you have there, and it was a pleasure. We went to the Richard Wright School, both of us, last week.
Yeah. Oh, did you go to?
Yeah, I was there right before you came.
I didn't know that.
I actually left there to go to the Leon Sullivan Human Services.
And I missed that.
Community. Yes, because you were with the babies.
Oh, with Leon Sullivan.
Yeah.
He was my idol, really. He was such a great man, and I'm sorry that I didn't have the opportunity to go there.
This is a big year for Leon Sullivan, the Sullivan family, the establishments, all of them, because they're celebrating 40 years for the center. And I think the Progress Plaza also has a milestone this year. So
that was flourishing.
During
the time
they're doing big things, celebrating this year and honoring the fact that, when they started out, there were not many black people who were doing some of the things that things that he did.
And he's still getting credit for it, and he should.
But he's not just that. Some of the things that just really coming to be, the things that he suggested and put in place. Yes. It's amazing that somebody who was a visionary at that time was so much ahead of their time.
Yeah. We met going on the street one day, and he said, "Are you Trudy Haynes?" And I said, "Yes." I didn't know him at the time, and when he told me, he shook my hand. He said, "We're going to do great things."
And I'm sure.
What a thing to live up to.
Yeah. What a great thing to live up to.
So, what else have you been doing? Oh, wait a minute. I have something I must share with our audience today because the Philadelphia Department of Public Health announced a new baby book club.
Oh, wow.
Now, what does that mean? It will provide books and other early reading materials to parents of every newborn in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And it's part of the Read by Fourth. That's the program that it's going to be called. And it's going to be a campaign to ensure grade-level literacy by grade 4.
Oh, wow.
I think that's marvelous. And
I
want to give them credit for doing this.
It's
starting this month. And it's called Read by Fourth program. And you can talk to your libraries and health departments about it and how you can sign up for the campaign. But they want to have every child in Philadelphia reading by 4th grade. I think that's
something
great.
that should definitely happen. I think I can say for a fact that by the time I was in the 5th grade, I was reading possibly on the 12th grade level. Because that was what I wanted to. I was so caught up in the fact that I needed to do well. I think in the 4th grade, I transferred to a school in a predominantly white neighborhood, and I almost flunked out.
And I can understand
I had
that.
such a bad stomach ache that summer. That summer, I read every single thing that I could possibly get my hands on because I said when September comes back, I will not flunk out.
What was one of the best books that you ever read in that period of time? Do you remember?
The best book, and it's amazing, is because my grandmother handed me an autobiography of Dr. Martin Luther King.
Oh,
I read that
all right.
in the 10th grade, which happened to be 10, 15 years after he had deceased. But at that time, I didn't even realize it was just that close. So,
what I remember, not as early or as late as you, was in 1959, The Raisin in the Sun came out. But what reflected to me was that when I was in school at Howard University, I didn't realize that my co-student was the sister of Mamie Hansberry,
Oh, wow.
who wrote the book, A Raisin in the Sun, and that's one of the books that I relish. It was also the first play that I saw Sidney Poitier in.
Oh, wow.
On television and on the stage.
Oh, wow.
And so if anyone, it's every now and then it comes up. And if you do have an opportunity to see A Raisin in the Sun, please do go to see it.
Okay.
It's worth it, and the book is worth it.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
Yes, we will.
At any given moment, somewhere in America, a baby is taking a first step, a developmental milestone. But for too many parents, a baby's first steps aren't just a milestone. They're a miracle. These are the parents of babies who were born prematurely or with birth defects. It's a crisis affecting more than 500,000 babies in the United States each year. You can help them by joining volunteers like you who walk in March for Babies. The money you raise funds research and local programs that help babies overcome the challenges of premature birth and birth defects. Together, our steps make stronger, healthier babies a reality for thousands of families. Sign up today at marchforbabies.org to take the steps that help make milestones and even miracles possible. Who will you march for?
That reminds me of voting time, of course, is right around the corner.
Oh, yes. Our favorite topic.
Yeah.
Can I say something about voting? Because it's amazing to me.
What do you mean, can you say something about voting? You're going to do it anyway. Go ahead.
Yes, I am. But it's amazing to me that I've been in all of these different circles over the past couple of weeks, and it's so interesting that more than ever our youth have picked up the voting buzz, and they are running with it. And I'm not talking about the youth who are between 18 and 24 who need to vote. I'm talking about the babies who
are saying, "Mommy and Daddy, get out there and vote."
No, the teenagers, the ones who are at a point where they're starting to understand and learn the value of voting. I actually spoke with some children, some students at Girard yesterday who want to start doing some things. It's a little late for this election, but they're actually starting to work toward the primaries for next year coming up. Yeah. And it's just so inspirational to see that while we're struggling with the value of voting and how we really, really need to understand it, that the babies are picking it up and they're running with it. So it gives us some purpose, and like, all right, so we're doing something.
Sherry, we didn't get the right to vote until 1960, and we want to cherish that, and we want to hold on to that. And it's not just a struggle for any person individually. It's a struggle to maintain this country and the values of things that we can make happen by voting. And so if you don't vote, you're not heard, and you don't have any reason to complain if you don't vote. So let's get it in there.
Really
That's the main thing.
And just a little intro as for Scoop. This week, there's an article, a column called To Be Equal. It's by Mark Murrell, the National Urban League. It's in the Scoop. It'll be back in here every week. And he actually is national. He's syndicated, and he talks about voting. He's in D.C., so he has the right, and he's been around long enough. He was directly there, so he can give us some real history.
He's been following it for year to year.
In this column, though, he speaks about his mother during the time when people weren't able to vote, and the struggles, and how it was really, really unfair for people with minorities, because they actually made you take a test to see if you were eligible to vote.
They sure did.
And many people couldn't pass the basic test, so they weren't allowed to vote because, and the interesting part is not only did you take a test, but they could change the test. And you would go prepared for one thing, and they would give you a different type of test.
Yeah.
So
you had to stand right there and give the answer. You didn't have time to go home and look it up and prepare.
Not at all.
Yeah, you had to do it on the spot.
So to know the things that many people have gone through, and to know the challenges that we face today, it's very, very important that you take that. It's no time at all. That 2 or 3 minutes to go.
November 6th, that's the date.
Yes.
Embedded in your mind and embedded in what you have to do. It's your right and your privilege.
So while we're talking about voting, we need to make sure everyone knows that the NAACP Awards are next week, and Donna Brazile will be here.
Have you ever seen her? I know you have.
I've seen her on TV. I've never met her, but I'm fortunate now. I'm going to meet her.
And she's doing things that I would love to do in the coming future, and I hope that everyone understands that I ain't giving up yet. I'm still going to be out there doing stuff. And
That's right.
I need everyone, all my friends around me. So I hope that you won't mind seeing me on the spot. So, Donna Brazil will be here.
Yes, next Friday. Information's in Scoop. It's online. You can actually look it up.
Next Friday is what date?
It's Friday the 12th. Is Friday? Yes, Friday
okay,
is
the
12th.
Voice.
It's my press day. Why wouldn't I know that?
Okay.
I need to know that. My paper comes out next Friday. These things should be embedded in my brain.
So we will be together.
Oh, Thursday, the day before. So we'll be able to.
We'll be going there together. And who else is coming? I saw with Sinbad. I haven't seen him in ages. Haven't even heard about what he's doing. He's going to be in town first part of December, and he's going to be at the Keswick Theater. They've been bringing in quite a number of comedians and people we don't see too often, like Wanda Sykes was here recently. I wanted to see her, but I missed it. But anyway, a lot of things are happening in Philadelphia. Anything else going on that your paper has picked up? Oh, I do want to say who was in town this past weekend was the Black Panther jeweler, one of the designers of all the jewelry.
Yeah, I know. And he was awarded, right?
He was awarded at the 41st Annual Philadelphia International Film Festival, and it was held at the African American Museum. And I went down, and one of your columnists did some interviews for both of us.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very wonderful exhibit. He had a lot of replicas that were in the movie. He explained, his name, by the way, he goes by Baba G.
Okay.
I couldn't pronounce his real name. I'm sorry. But he said fine. And he's a very, very impressive young man.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he said he wasn't able to bring all of the original pieces, but there were duplicates that Angela Bassett particularly wore in the Black Panther movie.
I think he made a hit just by my columnist. She said that she was ecstatic about the fact that she got to model some of the jewelry.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He made a hit with a lot of the women in Philadelphia just by coming and letting them actually.
And
he's displayed everything.
They bought some
He put everything out on display so you could only not just visually think about what it looked like, but you could see it, touch it, and purchase it. And some people were able to wear it. How's about that?
So what else are you doing, babe?
Oh, well, I'm doing tons of things, tons and tons and tons of things. One thing that's important is that a couple of my columnists, people do great things. They're busy all of the time. They're working, they're writing, and they're just covering some things. So one of my columnists is having a fashion show next week, and I actually wanted to.
Oh, I like fashion shows.
Yeah, so it's called The Painted Bride, and she's a nice young lady, and this is going to be her show. It's going to be on the 14th. So
what's it called?
It's called The Painted Bride. That's the name of her show. It's
called The Painted Bride.
Philly Fashion Line.
Are you going to be in a fashion show?
Oh, heck no.
Why not?
I'm 5'1". That's not a model size.
5'1.5".
But there are a lot
models are supposed to be tall.
5'1.5" with what?
8-inch
heels.
5'1.25" with 4-inch heels.
Would you believe I'm just 5'1"? I used to be. I'm shorter now. I don't know where I am now.
What you mean you used to be?
But I shrunk. You shrink when you get older. I don't know what happens, but you kind of shrink. Anyway, when I first came here, about 2 years after I started here, I had a model school.
Did you?
I had a school for modeling. Yeah, right on Chestnut.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get you teamed up.
No.
With Z
no
here.
More. Those days are gone.
And you can go. Well, you say I inspire you, so we're going to get
show.
you.
That's right.
No, she doesn't have to be in the show. She can teach. She can tell these young ladies some of the things that they need to know.
And a lot of, I'm very fortunate. A lot of people, not a lot, but some of the people have come up to me as late as last week to say that they used to go to my modeling school.
Awesome.
So that was way back in the 70s.
So yeah. I wanted to go to modeling school. I wanted to go to dance school. I wanted to do all these things. I was fortunate enough to just stay home and watch my mom and have her teach me.
Well, you were very fortunate to have a mom to teach you.
Exactly.
And that she made such
Exactly.
a success in teaching you.
She wasn't able to afford for me to do those things, which is why I struggle and work so hard so that my girls can.
Where are they now?
They should be on their way to.
No, I mean, who do they go to now?
My daughter actually dances at Dance for Life in Delaware.
Uh-huh.
Both of them started at Philadelphia with Aunt Joan.
I was hoping you'd feel safe.
Oh, no.
They have a recital coming up soon.
Both of them started with Aunt Joan. We are family members of Philadelphia for life. So, yeah, but in the teachers who teach them now, we're also part of Philadelphia, so we're still part of the family.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Introducing the YMCA. What, you already know the why? Or so you think. Sure, you know the why for a swim, a workout, even a game of hoops. But did you know we're more than that? We're a cause. When you take your jump shot at the Y, someone else is getting job training. Take a cardio class, while kids are in an after-school enrichment program. Practice your downward-facing dog as a teen practices her leadership skills. That's the why. We work with people no matter their age, income, or background and give them the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive, all with one simple goal in mind, to strengthen our community. And we've got so much more that does just that. So while you might think of the Y as that place for lifting weights, we're also about lifting entire communities. Introducing the Y. We're so much more than a place. We're a cause. Visit ymca.net/more.
So a lot of things going on because this is a women's year.
Yes,
I have
it
to
is.
say it's a definite women's year. But I have to say I like being a girl.
I do too.
There's so many things that we can now do that we couldn't do when I was a girl, younger. But now today, I kind of like being a girl. I kind of like having the doors open for me and tipping the hat, and I like people saying miss, ma'am, and all those kind of things. I don't want to be a boy. I think they got enough problems of their own.
People still do that?
You know.
I don't know.
You know, one thing for certain too, for sure, is I love being who I am, and I thank God for making me who I am and the person that I am. People choose to be the person that they are, and they have to be happy with who they are within
Well, I don't know if they choose, but who they are,
have to be
what
happy
they make
with,
of
with their,
themselves
with,
is what
what,
you mean.
with
Yeah.
the skin that they're in. Is that the right way of saying it? You have to be happy with the skin that you're in?
Absolutely.
Well, you have to try.
Well,
A lot of people aren't, and they take the other way of living. But when I say I like being a girl, I like the authority that now has come to women.
Mm-hmm.
I like the strength that has come to women. And I like even this country, of being in this country, to be able to express that. You know, I see all these different stories on Facebook and television where women suffer a great deal, and they're dominated by the tone of where they live and by the men who treat them with disrespect. And I think we have great opportunities in this country to be who we are, as you say, and to be a full-fledged woman. And I think we should protect those things that we have here in this country. I like being in this country because I haven't been anyplace else except to visit. And when you go someplace else, you usually go to have a good time, and most of the time you do.
Mm-hmm.
But coming home, you face a lot of problems, and it's up to us to face the problems that are here, to stay here, and to fight for the rights.
Okay. I will say this as far as women. You say that? Where we are today. I like to say, from the women who have been in my life, thank God I was blessed to have strong women in my life who had challenges and they still made it through. Because that's what I see as the value of being a woman, is being faced with the challenges of everyday life, of raising kids, of working, of having to try to figure it out, possibly by yourself, maybe with help. However, at the end of the day, you are the person who is the sole responsibility for making sure that your family survives. So I will say, today, yesterday, 50 years ago, my mother and my grandmother were the bare bones of our family. My father, he was a good dad, but my parent was my mother. That was the enforcer in my house. And I see that as something that's been the case forever. It's just that now we've moved outside of the house. Mm-hmm. We're in the office, we're in situations such as mine, where I'm told every day that I'm the dominant person and I'm the boss. But I carry the same tone outside in my life, in my office, with my staff, that I carry at home.
I like what you just said about carrying the same tone, because both of us have been fortunate to have people in our lives that, as we were growing up, who instilled in us certain values. And not only in the women, but the men in our families. And we kind of try to hold on to those things through imparting them to people we meet, imparting people who are in your family. As I said, I don't have a family, but anyone that I meet, I try to impart those same values. And the main thing is to keep them around yourself and what you do, because you become the example for others.
Whether or not you realize it, you end up sometimes in a situation where God puts you in a situation where, who would have thought that people would look at what it is I do or say? And I would have to be cautious about how I act or what I say, because I am somebody who would think that. I would have never thought that so much as even a year ago from today. But to now be in a situation where I have to be aware of my surroundings, what it is and what I say, I carry the things that I was taught. I don't take anything else outside of that. And I think that in closing, because we'll be leaving soon, one of the most important things that I learned that I carry every day is to be the person that I was meant to be. I pray and ask God each and every day before I leave my home that I do what it is that He needs me to do.
Pray for me too.
Oh, I pray.
Give a little prayer for me.
The prayer, Lord, please. The prayer is always to put me in a position that I touch all the lives that I'm supposed to touch, and that everything that touches me comes out the way it needs to be. So,
what do they say? Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Hey. Okay. So, thanks for being with us again today. And
Scoop and Trudy will return.
We'll see you next week.